Hey folks, it's Jim. Here we go into phase three. We're getting the markets are starting to correct. Tech sector seems to be holding on. I think there may be more market turmoil going forward. Let me open with a disclaimer. This video is not economics advice, financial advice, or advice of any kind. You and you alone are responsible to seek out professional advice that is right for you. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Those are my disclaimers. Okay, so if you're watching the markets right now, it's pretty much a lot of stuff's getting taken out. I expect more going forward, markets to drop a little bit more. But the reason why I want to do this video is to make you aware that when we globalized, okay, the US sent out a lot of labor to help globalize the world and bring the world into a globalization chain, if you will. Well, all that's been broken now, so everything's coming back home to the US, folks, and we're having a labor shortage. That's why the Fed is pulling the reins on the US economy, because we're out of labor. We don't have enough labor to fill the jobs. I mean, what's going on in the country, folks, is the mining is turning up big time. Steel, aluminum, microchips that are coming home. It's just unbelievable. Okay, so everything we talked about is coming true. And let's look at the dollar. Remember, at the time, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, at 91, I predicted, I base cased a bottom of 85. It wound up going to 87 on the dollar index. Now it's already at 102, what I had forecasted. However, folks, I think it could get worse. I think the dollar could approach 105, maybe 110, as the emerging market debt comes under pressure and countries start running home to the dollar. I know many of you think that gold and silver, with China, Russia, India triad all having heavy gold and silver, was a good idea for them. If there's one problem, our Keynesian debt-based economy, if our GDP rises so much that we're at 100% or less to GDP of debt, then the dollar continues to get stronger, which could lead to possible deflationary pressures with regards to imports, okay? And that will possibly happen short term. Now, we're going to have microchip shortages, as you already know. Where the steel or the ore markets are being shut down. So there's going to be deflation in a lot of sectors, okay? It's going to be a secular market going forward that you need to be aware of. Remember, I went 70% cash. I sold my silver. A lot of people said, no, it's going much higher. Where is silver today? You following me? Okay. What about gold? Okay, gold went up. It couldn't breach 2,000. Now we have all this going on. We have the possibility of nations selling gold into the market, gold reserves. Okay, so I am not going to play gold and silver unless gold hits 1,700 and silver is somewhere around 16 on the SLV. Okay, so $16. Yes, you got it. Okay, it's already down to like 22 today. So could it fall even further? Absolutely. If China stops, right now, they're talking about shutting down Beijing. Okay, so we could be back to a COVID type slowdown. And while I think there could be some deflationary buys, such as another knife that I just bought, a blade that I really wanted. It was on sale for 50% off. That's what's going to happen. In order to stay afloat, many companies are just going to start selling stuff to keep their factories solvent, if you will. Okay, so no one be aware of that. There may be some great buys coming forward, like those gloves, the nitrile gloves, right? There's excess supply in the market. Remember that the US is 83% internal GDP. Let me repeat that. The US is 83% internal GDP. Okay, we're also starting to make neon gas again. We're going to be making our own nitrogen again. We allowed the world to do a lot of things, folks, so that we could help other countries grow. Well, now we're in deglobalization, and all of that stuff is coming back home. and either countries play ball or the U.S. just produces it from within. Okay, so remember, the U.S. is one of the only countries that's ever been that has the natural resources, the energy infrastructure, and everything else to run independently of the world. Remember, back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, we ran independent of the world. Okay? We didn't need anything from the world. We could make it all, and we could, have the energy to do it and the natural resources, the mining. And companies like Rio Tinto are coming to the U.S. and mining here on our soil now. Again, copper, things like that. Even rare earths are being mined here. A new magnet factory has opened up in Texas. I mean, my goodness, Texas is crazy. We got 18-year-old kids in Texas making $250,000 a year, folks. Do you realize that? So if you're looking for a real estate correction in Texas, I don't think so. Okay. However, what do I see about real estate? Remember our board? Okay, our dollar prediction has come to fruition. We've made a ton on oil. I'm not selling oil and natural gas because of the reindustrialization of the U.S. Remember, this is all contingent that there isn't a nuclear war, okay? So we're going to see a shortfall in the stock market, in which case I'm going to be a buyer. I'll just show you quickly some of the companies I am shopping, okay? This is what I'm shopping. And as soon as they hit my buy signals, I will be buying because I don't want to mess with money anymore after this cycle. I want out. And the reindustrialization of the U.S. is going up, up, up. It's incredible what's happening in this country, folks. Okay, our GDP may skyrocket between now and 2025 to a level that nobody thought possible. Okay, and it will terrify many countries that want to be on the gold standard. All right. So, real estate, what are my feelings? One sector I believe that's going to get decimated is manufactured housing, mobile homes, things like that. If I were, remember I did my series on Road to Freedom, this is what I would be doing, looking for that piece of land or whatever, and then buying one of these manufactured homes that gets repoed, and there may be an excess in the market short term, okay? That's what I would be doing if I were starting out. And again, this isn't advice, but if I wanted to get free, I'd be waiting for something to come by. Mobile home is a place to hang your hat, but it's very efficient to heat, cool, and they are also easy to repair, aren't they? Many other things. I'll get into that. And if they're on sale for selling at 60,000 and they fall to 10,000 on a repo because there's a glut in the market, it might be a great buy. What do you think? You got it. Okay, so that's what I would do personally, but you make all the decisions you need to make for you. Okay, so I think we're in a wonderful time. Everything we talked about 2.5 years ago is happening right now. Okay, it took a while for the markets to start correcting, but I believe that we're going to have some wonderful buys in energy and many other things short term. And remember, we played our short. Remember when oil hit 128? People thought I was crazy placing a short, but what's happening now? You got it. And is that offsetting as my oil companies go down, which I'm not selling because they're cash cows and their dividends keep going up, but it's that short is offsetting the decline in these prices, in the oil sector's prices, right? And I will be a buyer of U.S. oil and natural gas. If it hits low enough, I will be buying more. I will be selling my short and dumping all of that short profit into more oil and natural gas in the U.S. because we're being reindustrialized at a rate that we don't even have enough labor. That's why the Fed's pulled the reins on the economy and has to slow it down. We are out of labor and we're reindustrializing so fast, we don't have the people to man all the jobs. Man, woman, whatever. Okay? So no one be aware of that. This is also a global smackdown on those nations who want to drop the dollar as a global reserve currency. Folks, I don't care. Neither does your government. Okay? Everybody panicked. Oh, the dollar's not going to be the reserve currency. Europe's trading outside the dollar. China's trading outside the dollar. Russia's trading outside the dollar. India's trading outside the dollar. Who cares? Quit panicking about this, please. The best thing for the US would not to be the global reserve currency. Do you realize that? We could internalize again like we were in the 40s and explode the value of the dollar. Okay, but we have to print dollars for other countries. So that's a problem for us. So do I care about whether or not the US is the world's reserve currency? Not one iota, if you can do math. Okay, who cares? The dollar index will continue to climb. 105 to 110 is now my forecast. It was 102 2.5 years ago, but now because of what's going on, China may shut down Beijing, for goodness sake. And this is going to cause a global slowdown. So please be ready for your plays in the stock market to pick up some really good companies. I'm staying in the US because the reindustrialization, we're 83% internal. That's probably going to go to 87% of the US GDP will be inside the borders of the United States. So I am going to stay home where I know it's a controlled deck of cards, if you will. Okay? And that's due to deglobalization. Okay? China screwed up. Russia has made a major error. And if we don't go to nuclear war, hopefully not, Russia's in big, big, big trouble. Okay? And so are other countries. And China's GDP is going to struggle. They're going to try and grow it from within while the US GDP starts to just accelerate going forward through 2026, 2027, I believe. Okay? And remember, Biden hired 100,000 IRS agents. They planned this whole sell-off. And remember the transfer of wealth that always takes place. So get your professional advice on what to do with your money. I am not a seller. Remember, I was 70% cash, only play in oil and gas. I do not care. Okay, and I'm not a seller because of Biden's capital gains taxes and the fact that he hired 100,000 IRS agents to enforce that because they knew all this was coming. Okay, we're in a deglobalization period. Okay, we sent a lot of labor and whatnot out, but now the U.S. is pulling it back in and becoming an independent nation again. And remember, folks, we are probably the only country in the world that has everything it needs as an economy. Okay, so I wanted to share all of this with you. I'm going to keep doing a video every day on detail about things. I hope this video has been somewhat informative for you, but I'm going to go into deep, deep detail as we go forward, as I have time. Jim out.